In this video, we'll be installing an Injen intake onto a 2016 Scion FRS. If you just want the before and after sounds, go to the timestamp listed. And yes, you'll hear the engine under load, not just, stationary revving, so you can hear what it really sounds like. Alright, this is the car that the intake is going on. FRS, BRZ, 86 are cars that everybody's heard of and has an opinion on, so I won't bore you with the details. This one's stock except for a Cusco strut bar and master cylinder brace, and it also has a catback, which is an MXP Comp RS. So basically it's like all the other thousands of these cars you see driving around the road. This is an Injen SP short ram intake. I mainly wanted it for the intake sound. It seems to be well regarded. The filter isn't oiled, which is what I prefer, and other owners who have posted like oil analysis things have also revealed that the filter seems to do its job. Abrasive particles would show up as silicone on an oil analysis test, just in case you're wondering. Alright, pretty straightforward. So here's the filter. There's the intake. So this is the wrinkle, I was gonna say wrinkle red, the wrinkle black thing. There's a chrome version. Actually, the chrome one might have fit the Cusco strut bar better, but anyways. Here's the airbox. It also has a lid. Now, the lid had a thing, as far as I'm like little vent things, like louvers from the pictures, or at least I remember seeing that, so it doesn't have that. That's interesting. As long as the noises still come through. So here's the instructions. Wyborg intake system, okay. Oh, it's covered anyways. This is what the kit comes with officially there. And you can see here it's like bolts and stuff. There's that boot that goes over the throttle body. Like a thing that goes around here where the tube goes through. So I want to show you this pipe here. It's actually interesting. This is where the sensor goes. And it has its own little chamber there, so that assists with making sure that, I guess, there's no check engine light. So the first thing we gotta do is actually disassemble the airbox and air intake. It's all pretty easy there. You just have a couple of standard, like 10mm, 8mm bolts and so on and so forth. The airbox has a whole bunch of like resonators. There's like 3 bolts holding that in, and there's also you gotta disconnect the sensor there because that's gonna go into the new intake. And you can also cap off the thing that pipes the sound into the cabin, but I just ripped it out. Normally there's like a cap which caps it off at some point, but I didn't want it there. Next up, we install the airbox. So it just goes where basically old holes were there. It's really easy to lose like bolts and stuff in the engine compartment because it has like this tilted radiator arrangement of sorts. It can kind of fall like into the bumper area and it's inaccessible. How do I know this? Because I dropped some in there. Anyway, so I just ended up using the regular OEM bolts because those hold in the airbox just fine. And the rest is pretty easy there. Just connect the filter. Everything kind of fits how it should. Nothing, too difficult. Just gonna make sure that everything's seated properly over the pipes, with a silicone joiner there. And then just bolt everything down until it's nice and tight. And it's all good to go. Don't forget to plug the sensor back in. And also, at the end, there's a lid that goes on top of the airbox. And then it's all done. With all of that out of the way, I think it's time for a before and after showcase. So there you go. Hopefully you guys can hear the difference there. That last shot there with the pedals is just to show you how, I guess, the sound changes depending on how hard you press or how far you press on the accelerator. You start hearing the intake at about half throttle, thereabouts. I think that's a good thing, because if you're just cruising around, you don't really hear it. But then when you get on it a little bit, you get rewarded with a, nice little throaty intake kind of sound. So if you're heel and toeing and stuff, depending on how hard you blip, you'll be able to hear that a little bit, so that's cool. And compared to the stock intake, I guess those resonator things, they really cancel out or remove a lot of the frequencies in the sound. So the main thing I noticed with the new intake is that it's, I guess, a more full sound, and it's more three-dimensional. There's more frequencies involved anyways when it comes to what you're hearing. Now, of course, the exhaust that I have is gonna color the sound a little bit, and there's probably going to be a bigger difference if I had a stock exhaust instead. So there it is. That is the Injen intake. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.